So.
Okay, my name is Founder Almajiri. I'm together with Madam Ide and Her Excellency Mommy Aisha Abubakar Bagudu.
My name is Awaka. I use Atiku.
Okay, Aisha Atiku.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to come and have this discourse with you about our ever contemporary issue in the northern Nigeria, which is Almajiri system of education.
Okay.
But you've been into this particular, activity for more than 12 years now. So I always wonder how you do it. You've been consistent. So anytime I see your programs on social media or online or on media or wherever, I always wonder how you do it. Because me, I've been into this particular activity for just above 6 years. So I know the kind of hurdles that I do face. So honestly, I do wonder how are you this consistent?
It's a very difficult job, but it's a team effort. One person alone cannot do it. If I take the credit that I'm doing everything by myself, I'm lying. We have a team that are very good, that we sit, we discuss, and sometimes my idea might not be welcomed by them, and sometimes their idea might not be welcomed by me, but we meet in the middle. With registration, we started 2009, and without registration, we have been doing it since. Like I keep telling everyone, I started it with my father's inheritance, what I inherit from my father, to help. And I think the problem is everybody in the northern Nigeria knows the problem of an Almajiri child. When I say a child, people don't see that Almajiri as a child. They see that Almajiri as a nuisance, someone that disturbs their life, someone that is a burden on them. Sometimes say mu dinga cewa wai ba ma son almajiri yaro kusa gare mu. It's not true. It can happen to any one of us. It's a system that muke da shi tuntuni far back then, and it's just that people abuse the system. If you are sending your child to a Western education, to a boarding school, you take that child with provision, with soap and everything. But most of the time when people say it's the fault of the Malan, I keep saying it's not the fault of the Malan, it's the fault of the parents. Sometimes you notice that if you're talking to the mothers, they will tell you, Nima bana son dana ya je almajiranci. Baban ne, al'ada ne, baban kowa sai a ce al'adan arewa ne ko na ƙauye kowa ya je almajiranci, which is wrong. And sometimes I argue with the Malans. Sometimes I blame them a lot, but I became very close with them that I realized that dole ne in some extent that those children have to go out to beg, because the Malans, they don't have salary. That is number one. Malans don't have salary. Malan, you can bear me witness because we go out with you most of the time. They don't have salaries, and some of them, they don't even have jobs. And some of them have like 4 wives, 3, 2. Only few of them have one wife. And then you will see them, they have more than 20 children. They are even struggling to feed their child. How do you expect them to feed another person's child? I was talking to one of these Malan, and he was telling me that kullum na ɗauki tuwo na ba wani yaro in ya je bara bai dawo ba za ka gansu suna kuka suna kwanciya a ƙasa. In na ɗauki tuwo na ba su, to washe gari ba ni da dumame gidana. Which means if I give them my food in the morning, I don't have breakfast, in a nutshell. So how do we go about this? You know, the other time you were telling me that how difficult it was for you, how people don't understand you, and I told you that it's the passion that drives. If you don't have the passion, you can't do it, because it's a very difficult thing, even for the child or the Malan itself.
On how to address the issue. I was of the opinion that this is a very, very bad system, and it's just has to stop. And you told me that no, that's not how we should go about it. We should advocate for the reformation of the system, you know. So after a lot of researches, because even my PhD program, my area of research is about Almajiri.
Yeah,
you know, so that was when I came to understand the system far better than before. System there one day lasting for more than 300 years before the coming of British in the northern Nigeria. Through that system, muka samu alƙalanmu. Through that system, we produced our leaders, and that was a system that through which, you know, we maintain our norms and values in northern Nigeria. All of a sudden, in the 1900, you know, early 1900, British took over Nigeria, suka abolition system din. Suka yi dethroning the AMS din. Suka subjecting us into second class leaders. Because lokacin da ake almajiranci before the coming of British, su AMS din su ne leaders, su ne authority. Su suke funding the system din, kamar yadda yanzu ake funding din boko. Akwai budget, ana funding. In fact, that time it was a privilege ma a ce mutum ma almajiri ne. Ko kuma mutum ya tura yaron shi wurin karatu. Because almajirancin ba na bane. Zuwa neman ilimi ne, yadda za ka tafiyar da rayuwarka da kuma addininka. To da suka zo, suka abolition wannan system din, suka introduce din karatun boko. Then, tunda su ba su recognize din shi ba, definitely the funding was no longer there. Su kuma wanda suke funding din, wanda suka recognize din shi, su kuma an yi dethroning din su.
They don't have the power.
Kinga, they no longer have the power over the state resources. So tun lokacin, for over 100 years up until now, that system has not been recognized by the authority. That system has not been funded, you know. But the question is, if they can survive all these years without the intervention of the authorities, without the funding from the authorities, it means this system has come to stay for me, in my opinion. So I think what we should do is to look at the system entirely and, you know, and point out where we have deficiency in the system, maybe to enhance their curriculum, and try to reform the system. Because if they can survive 100 years without anybody's intervention, that means they can still survive under 100 years. And the northern elites, I think it's our responsibility. Someone came from nowhere.
How is it the northern elite's responsibility?
Okay, someone came from nowhere and abolished our traditional system, for instance. And those people are no longer with us now. Now we have the authority, we have the funding and everything, you know. So, the system they are not as bad as we portray them to be. You know, one of the case illiterates.
But do you think an Almajiri child is an illiterate?
No. Who is an illiterate? It's someone that is unable to read and write.
Okay.
Almajiri system, an Almajiri can read and write. He can even converse, maybe in Arabic. You know? So we have this mindset. You know, he's an illiterate.
Yes.
So the system Almajiri it's a formal system. I used to regard it as informal. I remember during one of my defenses, you know, during my PhD program, I was addressing the system as informal system. One of the professors there was the one that confronted me and said, no, what is an informal system? It's any system that does not have an organized structure. But Almajiri system has an organized structure. Right? You know, their ranking, their stages, you know, even their curriculum. Yaro zai fara da farfaru, that is the foundation, you know,
like just like ABCD.
Yeah, farfaru, zaka fara karanta kawai what's in there. You know, zaka yi babbaku, you know how to combine, join the words.
That's what a white person calls a phonics.
Yeah. Zaka yi karatu, you know, recitation. Zaka yi harda, you know, and all these things. Then, you know, the stages, you start from what they call Olo, that is, the, let's say, the kindergarten.
What is cool?
Then you will be category, let's say from 10 years and above. Guarantee, like that is an
Gari ba
adult.
su ne manyan
So
yan
the
makaranta.
adults maybe from 15 years.
Okay.
Then from there, that's a malam. Shi yasa you ga from gari wani zaki ga shi ma fara dokan bulala yana koya ma yaran.
Karatu.
Ya zama malam da alaramma, su ne suka hadace Qur'ani. Alaramma zaka zama gwani, zaka zama gangaran, kuma shine professor ma gaba daya. That is the kind of stages that people like Sheikh Jafar have gotten to. People like Sheikh Nahir Bauchi, all through the system. And
people respect them.
People respect them. The issue is,
But what do you think about even in a formal education as a su makarantan boko while they're doing the Almajiri school? What's your opinion on that?
But can I take that?
Yeah.
I want to say something regarding that. Based on the experiences we've had over the time of this, our trying to incorporate Almajiri Child into Western education. It's not been funny. Challenges are high. For instance, I can remember when you used to have conversation with the malams and even the parents, and most of them will insist that their kids won't go to Western school. And you have to convince them seriously to know that there is no harm in. She even went ahead quoting to them what our noble prophet said about knowledge. You can go to anywhere and seek knowledge, whatever kind of beneficial knowledge you can get. So most of them bought to that idea after a series of conviction from her, especially in Kebbi State, when she was the first lady. So it's not very easy to convince these people, but it's something that can be done. Can start gradually, but you have to convince them to take these kids into school. The parents and the malam, some of them, they are not flexible. You have to keep convincing them. And she was successful in incorporating these kids into Western education, where we have most of them now are teachers, teaching our students in MALLPAI Center in Brandon Cape. Some of them are nurses. Just last week, we had a conversation with one of the nurses, a male, and we're very happy. He started from that Almajiri Child, went to school, and now he's a nurse. So it's a very good idea if the government can come together, because one person cannot do it. We need to incorporate these kids into Western education. Like we said earlier, they are not illiterate, but gaining more knowledge about the fundamentals that we have in Nigeria, the one that will follow, they will agree that the Western education. So add it up to them, will make them superheroes, even more than those people that just have one. They are having two double honors. So that is the main thing that should even be done. It's the main thing that should be addressed.
I think that is one way of.
But the challenges are the parents and the malams.
Yeah.
Most of the malams.
And sometimes the kids.
Yeah.
Even the kids,
Some
well,
of them, I think
sometimes.
Excellency, what she did was some of them that don't want to go to school, then we just put them into learning skills, barbing, organizers and stuff like that, tailoring and stuff like that. And it was successful at the end of the day, because by so doing, automatically you are not having users in the society, you are not having users on the streets. You are giving them life, making them responsible people more, because her issue then, what she was always advocating, people are taking advantage of these children. For example, making them to be an agent to some evil stuff in the society, telling them to go and check what is inside social house so that they can go and get stuff like that. So if you are educated Islamically and you are going to school, you will be so engaged that you will not even have time for such things. So people are really using them negatively.
Well, I think that is one way of admitting them into this formal education. But I think another method is that if they refuse to take themselves to the formal or to the westernized schools, why don't we take the curriculum, to their schools?
Okay.
You understand what I mean?
What we do, the basic.
They have.
I know what you're talking about. Some of our schools that we even visited last week, we have this basic blackboard in their school. whereby they learn the basic alphabetical order. And then from there, if you are I think she did not elaborate it well. From there, if the child have an interest, then they will put them into school. Some just join, let them learn to write their names and stuff, and let them be able to read. If they say they are not going to school, what we keep telling them is learn to write your name. Okay. If you know how to write your name, and if you know how to read your name, anybody that knows the Quran off head, Western education is a simple thing for them. I remember giving someone an example with Fatami. I said he's a minister. He became a minister, but he's a scholar. Everybody knows that he's a scholar. And I said most of these our scholars go to school, they learn, and they can hold a lot of title. There is nothing wrong with it. So. But do you know there is physics in the Quran? There is chemistry in the Quran. If you read it,
sure.
you know there is all those things. And my argument is, which I keep telling people, that these children can learn, since they can read and write in Arabic. If you look at these, we all go to Egypt for medicals. We go to Saudi for medical. We go to all these Arabian countries. Okay, now, people from Russia, they don't speak English. People from China, they don't speak English. And they have very good medical. They don't speak English. They all have. So why is it that we will say, though, someone is an illiterate because you don't speak English? Someone cannot be able to. If you can't read in English, you're an illiterate. Somebody can read in Hausa. Like I said, my mom did not know how to read, nor does she know how to write in Hausa. In English. But she knows how to read in Ajami. I keep saying this story all the time. She knows how to read in Ajami. She can write in Ajami. I don't know how to read in Ajami or write in Ajami. So why would I call my mom an illiterate? You know, they define, and they have good doctors and everything. So I was feeling that most of the time is you can learn to teach a child from the language, maybe in Yoruba, maybe in Igbo, maybe in Hausa, maybe in the Arabic, the system that they're used to. I think we have a lot of Arabic college, and we have Arabic board on that education.
Arabic board.
Yes. So I feel that if you can use the system, and the problem that people don't understand, there's a difference between an Almajiri child and a beggar and a street child. These are three people that are different people. But people don't understand. You and I that work with them, we know the difference of an Almajiri child and a beggar.
You know, at times it is funny when I hear people calling them illiterates. You know, like I always say, me, in as well, makarantan, can I say Zauri?
Makaranta Allo.
You see someone going to Usman for you know, to study Islamic studies. Then he'll get the certificate. But I'm not trying to undermine what they do, but you can't compare them with our malams in the Sangha youth. Most of them and their professors, in the evening or at night, they will still go to that Sangaya, to the malams there, to go and study further. You know, in order to come and preach out to people or and teach people more. But because they have the certificates, now they are considered to be illiterates. Those ones in the Sangayu, because they do not have the certificate, or rather they cannot speak English, they are considered to be illiterates. I think as Northerners, you know, that's why I always say Northern elites, we may need to sit down and look at this issue critically. So what do these people that have the certificate have, or what have they learned that these ones have not? If there's anything they learned that these ones have not, we should introduce it. Then we should also look at ways to make them employable after they graduate. Because like I always say, they also have stages. You know, you graduate from one particular stage to a particular stage, just like we do from nursery school to primary schools, to secondary schools, university and what have you. They also have those stages. So I think you can't become a Gangaram police and Ogoni after you want to, you want a government employment, then you are not recognized. And someone that just has a certificate from university or from polytechnic, he can be employed in, as a military officer, as a custom officer, as, But these ones, that's why if you look at their economic condition, they are very, very, it's very, very scary, because they don't have any ways of making money through the government system. The best they can do is to go out farm, and it's also very difficult for them. So I think I always say this: the northern elites, we need to sit down. Like I was discussing with one of my Igbo friends. I was telling him about this issue. Then he asked me a question. He said, "Is there no way we can design a program for them so that they can be able to sustain themselves?" And that is a very, very key idea, I think. Design a program whereby you engage them themselves. Like we always try to do with these plans that we have, that's why we always talk about Roga and what I mean. So even them, we should look at their condition, look at their passion, look at what is applicable to them, design any program that will make them sufficient in whatever they do. So the idea of them being illiterate, I think, whenever you see people talking, they call them illiterate. I think that is not really.
Have you ever sit down with an Almajiri child and ask him or her? There are Almajiri beggars. There's a guy school for Almajiri girls.
Yeah. There is.
Yeah, I know you know because we have been battling it together with you. But have you ever sit down and discuss with them? Do they enjoy going out for begging? Have you ever sit down with them?
No, they don't. No, they don't. Even the bigger ones, girls that have gotten married and what I do. When you ask them what they went through, one of my friends, he was an Almajiri before. When he was telling me what he went through during that, when he was begging for food and what I do, it's a very, very sad situation. Because I think just a week ago, I was passing by, I saw a small boy. He was up to, I think he should not be more than 8 years. He was crying profusely. What happened? He told me that he was hungry. He was not eating. And that was around 9 p.m. So I felt very, very bad in my mind because I was like, what if this was my son? So, but what is the issue? The issue is that we have not recognized them. We must recognize their system. We must empower them. We must reform the system. And we must take them off the street, the kids. At times you see them about 3, 4, 5-year-old child roaming the street.
But that's why, as much as we don't want to talk about it, that's why you see that they abuse them. They get raped a lot. They get beaten.
There's no control.
And they okay, let me give you an example. Like the strike that happened recently. If you look at it, most of the time, when you look at the video of the strike, you see that most of the children out there are beggars.
Yeah.
A street child. And why do you think they are all out there?
Because number one, they are not under the control of their parents. Number two, the Malam is overwhelmed by their population. Only one Malam having 200 Almajiris, how can he control them? It's not, listen, and there's no restriction to where they can go to. They can go to anywhere. Malam himself, he already has his, like you said earlier, he may have his own 4 wives and his own kids, plus these children. So, he must be overwhelmed. So there's no control, there's no restriction to where they can go to. So they go to anywhere they want to go to. But before, it was not like that. Before, their number was not this much. And because, everything we do, resources is very important. Any system that's been funded, that is when the mother can be able to maybe recruit some assistants to assist him. That is when he will be able to provide them with a good shelter, with a good health care. But no, nothing is provided. In fact, it is the Almajiri themselves that usually give weekly stipends to the Malam.
Some. Not all.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, some of them. Not all of them. I disagree here with you because, some Malans collect something from them. Some Malans, when they go out, I'm not saying all the Malans are perfect. There's an incident that happened, and we're discussing with an Amy. I'm not going to mention him, and I'm not going to mention which area. And we're discussing with him, and he said they came to him and they were complaining that the school, the Almajiri goes into their house, women, and then they will be sleeping with the men, with the wives, especially during hot season that everybody sleep outside. They will go in and they will sleep with them. So he said he was finding it very difficult. He doesn't know because he doesn't have proof. So he said, okay, what he would do is he called them, he makes sure they cook food for them. He took off his turban, that's his Rawanina Sarauta, and he was just sitting down with them on the floor with them, and he was sitting down on the floor and he was eating with them. He said he pretended he was not a king for that period of time, and they were all eating and they were all eating. And he started conversation with them to the extent they opened up. And they were even saying, "I kai wani ne budurwarka, kai wance kake so, kai kullun sai ka koma ka ce ta kowa dadi." He said he could not continue eating. That loman da na dauko haka na rike shi hajiya. Kai na sai ya fara spinning. So maganar nan da ake faɗi gaskiya ne.
Well,
so you see, that's what I'm saying. It depends on the approach. Some school, Kuma, if you go, they have reformed their school. There's a school I went to in Jega when I was going around Almajiri school. That school, their students don't go out for bara. They are not allowed to go. They have, every parent must bring provision. And then they have to go and see their parents. And you have to give your child a soap and a sponge.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things. I was really impressed. Though they needed more toilets, we acquired some houses for them, but we can't do it alone because we also have to ask for help from other people. Now we have a commission that was opened for the Almajiri, which I'm sure they will do a lot. They are planning to do a lot, and they will do a lot. But since it's a new commission, let's see their job.
Commission for Almajiri
out of school children.
Well, gaskiya ne nima da same jega na san wani makaranta wanda aka ga malami. Though yaran they are like more than 10 years, but most of them, or all of them, they have their menial jobs that they do. So idan aka zo aka karatu, immediately a gama karatu, kowa zai je sana'ar shi, mai sai da dabino, mai shoe shiner, mai yaran ba su bara. Idan aka gama kowa dan samu abin da ya sa jiwon shi, sai kuma lokacin karatu sake dawo ya karatu. But the policy din makarantar shi ne ba a bara. So at times we have this perception that kowane makaranta Almajiri yake bara, ba a bara. So
I also know one school again in Benin, wajen I think Badarea area or Goslo, Suma, they don't go for bara. I know about 1 or 2 schools. They don't go for bara. Their students are always there. They are seated there and they are there. They don't go for bara.
Even though the issue is that majority of them go for bara, but I think
in Sokoto too, there is a school I know they don't go for bara.
Well, we should look at why do this go for bara? Why do these particular ones go for bara and the other ones don't? Like I told you, she went and the one you just cited yanzu, iyayen suna kawo su da abinci. It means this is another way of addressing bara again. That duk iyayen da any parent that is sending his child for Almajiranci should make sure that he must have provided all the basic necessities for the child. And the second one is the one that I just cited. That you are okay. Yaran should have a way of making earnings by themselves. Shoe shining, any menial jobs they can do, so that in suka karatun su gama su ji, but baran dai is the most, shi ne wanda ya fi ba kowa wahala, kuma shi ne abin da ko arewa ma yanzu, ba abin da ke bata mana suna a wasu kasashe da wasu other parts of Nigeria kamar baran da ake. So we must find way to see how we can address and this issue na baran da yara suke. In ma iyayen ne za a sanctioning na cewa ka tura yaron karatu, but no matter what ka gan shi na bara. And the government must come in. That's the truth. Because we send our children to Western schools, and they have been provided with, at least, even though not very good, but foods and shelter and what have you. So one of these ones, that's the argument that they always put, the owners of the Almajiri schools. They are also Nigerians,
They have the right.
They have the right to
they have the right, and whatever they're saying. Yeah.
So why not us? And they're also right.
So why do you think some of them are angry? Because one lokaci zaka ga yaron Almajiri very bitter and he's angry all the time. Why do you think that?
Mutumin da yake, first of all, when you look at your contemporaries, that is in the Western schools, they've been taken care of. They are making a lot of money for them, for their budget, and you are abandoned. And you have a choice to say, this is the kind of system I want to go through. And if the government thinks that system is not okay, they should come out and reform it and enhance the system. So they are provided with everything. In government schools, even government schools, some are clinic, some are the hostels, and about 3 square meals. So gama za about certificate. But these ones, nothing is given to them. Nothing for them. Ba shelter, ba healthcare, and after everything, kuma achi they are not recognized. They are not employable. So they have to be bitter. Definitely they have to be bitter. Then yunwa, the wahala da yaran go through, even that will make you, at times, in na yaro na makaranta, in na fito, in na je na dauko shi, za ki ga almajirai sun zo da yawa. Kulan da ya ci abinci da shi suke so a bude, yana akwai sauran abincin da ya rage a basu.
So how do you feel?
So when in the gansu I just look at them that some one of them number one day they are Nigerians and their parents and they are also humans, So yanzu shi yaro na we grow up to be looking at them as third class citizens, we're not second class citizens. And so
fourth class citizens.
They will be looking at our yara as privileged ones. That so they are provided with everything, they call them, So definitely one rivalry din will definitely be there. She is such a girl and girma wasu na jan hashin wasu. Na cewa ki wayna su they are provided with everything. Muni aka kyale, muni aka abandon.
Amani, like I always tell people that you are when people muna magana da su, or when we are talking with them, when they are talking about an Almajiri Child, blah blah blah. And they should just punish them, and I keep telling them that these are our future leaders. These kids are our future leaders. They might end up tomorrow not allowing our children to sleep well.
Of course. Yeah, so I think we have discussed a lot.
There was something you told me earlier on, is it today or yesterday or day before yesterday? We were discussing about, you were talking about your life after university. After you finished secondary school, you entered university, and your life after that. And I think if you don't mind, this is something I want us to share because it's a bit funny and...
Okay, when you were in secondary school, all your dream, is to see yourself in the university system.
Yes.
So when you're in the university, while going through that rigorous process of studying, from one level to the other, you think you have this perception that, expectation that after university, you are just going to enjoy life. So me, after my university, it was not like that, So the one day from secondary school, why I brought about the issue of secondary school, because of that youthful exuberance, you just want to go to university and have fun, and enjoy life. So that time, our parents, people like you, our elders, our mentors were telling us that, when you go to school, try and study, high life is not for you. Drugs, you know, other things, you know, look at when the boss of the child, they should try and stay away from them. So shi yasa lokacin ma mu sai baka mara ta kura muna a rayuwa. I remember lokacin na je university akwai wannan trend in na harkar su wasu American musicians that were so much into drugs. You know, because they are
like rappers.
Like rappers, so you know, also da yawa suka dinga harkar shaye-shaye lokacin. We were very, very much tempted, but Allah ya tsare mu. Ba dabarun bane Allah ya tsare mu. That's my belief. So lokacin ana gaya mana cewa wanda suke shaye-shaye nan fa their future, they are destroying their future. Lokacin mu gane ba. But abubuwan da ke faruwa yanzu gaskiya daga baya mun gama ayi aure ayi me su irin masu wacce rayuwa din abubuwan da ake gaya mana cewa zai faru da su shine yake faruwa. Mata in mace ba ta yi karatu ba ta shiga wani rayuwa zaki samu rayuwanta, you know, aure zai wahala kuma ya auren ba za a iya zama ba. Su ma maza wanda bai tsaya karatun ba ya je harkar shaye-shaye shi ma is going to be a problem for you. And arewacin Najeriya nan ne hub of shaye-shaye arewacin Najeriya.
Yeah.
But mata da maza.
Yeah,
it's very, very unfortunate.
Even married women. Even married women.
Kowa yake. Then ita kuma life after university shine. I thought in ka gama university shikenan ka zaka samu aiki ana biyan kuɗi da yawa ka sai gida ka sai mota kai mai to ba haka bane. Gamban da ya samu aikin ma dai ko shi is something. Like I always say, just when I was I like the reason why I like and I admire Igbo people very much is that their industrialization, you know, that their ability to think outside the box and create something for themselves. Like you mutanen musu duk wanda ya gama makaranta shi, you know, he wants to apply for CBN, ministry, you know, a batch salary. You know, you see someone finishing NYC maybe at the age of 25, but I've been the key, waiting for a government job. Before you know it, he's already 30. So even if the opportunity comes, they'll say, okay, maybe this is for people below 30 years. Then, in my case, I'm aiki. Me, I'm privileged. Na fara aiki. In fact, in university, I fara sama aiki. So, na gana cewa that is not the end of life. So, ina so mutane musu su yi adopting wannan rayuwar na, you know, bayan an gama makaranta, number you must learn a skill. Mata, I encourage mata a lot, you know, because they are the most vulnerable. Learn a skill, then don't wait for government job. Kuma ka samu aikin ma it's good ka samu aikin saboda at least that will give you some exposure and kuma zaka you know how to coordinate, you know, because of that interaction in the office, you know how to coordinate and direct and what have you. But ko ka samu aikin, you should always look for another thing to do. Ba magana cewa ka samu aiki, wasu aikin zai tsaya. With this inflation yanzu, zaka samu wanda ake biya salary, let's say 200,000 naira 5 years ago, they are still paying 200,000. Ko in ma ya review salary ya ce, okay, to shi can I review, we are giving you 30% increment. Meanwhile, the cost of living has increased by more than, let's say, 1,000%.
Yeah.
You know?
3,000%.
So you know,
because before, if you enter market with 100,000, you get a wheelbarrow. Now, if you enter with 100,000, you get half a ladder. So it's 3,000%.
One day, she came to secondary school. I didn't know much I always appreciate my parents because my mom was always telling me that lokacin cewa ka jira in lokacin ka yi zaka yi abin da kake so ka yi. Sannan kuma we were trying to stop you or restrict you from doing other some things, but because ba mu san ka bane saboda ma sauraron ka ta yi kyau because they have been there. Mun muna gashi ba ta kora mana but so kind we try to manage abuna. So rayuwar gaskiya I think I'm better off. Allah saka musu da kare ji kansu. So whenever I get the opportunity to talk to young people, gaskiya I try to.
Yeah, you were talking about mentorship the other time.
Yeah. Sure.
You were talking about mentorship, about if you have someone talking to you, guiding you, giving you all the advice. Someone, if you have a mentor. So I need you to elaborate on that mentorship.
Okay. You know, our elder ones, even in fact, even on television, reading leadership books, reading books, watching programs. so yake motivational speakers ko so ba wai suna surutu bane kadai duk abin da suke ga maka gaskiya ne because most of them talk based on experience like ni duka abubuwan da ke magana yanzu ba yana magana bane akan abin da karanta a cikin tafai so it's very important I think for you to sit down with someone that's older than you that have seen life way ahead of you to tell you the kind of hurdles ahead. Like in zaka tuka mota, let's say from Birnin Kebbi to let's say Abuja. In baka san hanya ba, you have to look for someone wanda san hanya ga.
You have to ask.
Shi zai ga ma ga abin da ke faruwa ga abin this is what you expect. So like I always say, da university gaskiya I expected abubuwan ne expecting na gama university irin zaka samu aiki zaka ji daɗin rayuwa da ake gaya min cewa ba haka bane da na zo ya gani I was surprised. So ni ce a ta yaka mutane suka sani but they've been there. So mentorship is very very key. In fact, if you don't have one, you need to buy one mentor.
How do you buy a mentor?
I'm just trying to emphasize on the extent why you need a mentor. Because a mentor is very important.
I know, I'm just
a role model. You know, someone that's not necessarily a mentor, maybe because you don't have access to him, but maybe he's successful in that your
path.
Your path, the kind of passion that you have, why you want to see yourself. Go through his, and now information is everywhere. Go through his profile. Go through his
sometimes I think it's not about you going to school or it's not about you having money. It's experience that is the best teacher.
Yeah, sure.
And some people have all the qualification, but man, you don't want to deal with them.
Yeah.
Because they are full of crap.
Yeah.
You see somebody from a low class that you see he's a low class person, and you see that person have an integrity that you want to follow and you want to deal with that person. So when look at you, where you are an educated person, to me, going to school do not make you an intelligent person. Having all the qualification do not make you an intelligent person, or you have all the certificate, you are intelligent. The person that don't have certificate is dull.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that.
That is why they say some people allow.
It's a gift.
They say some people allow university to pass through them instead of them passing through the university system. There was time I was discussing with one of my friends. He's working with NDIC now. That time I think he had not worked with them for like maybe 2 years. So I was asking him, I said, how do you see the experience that you had there? He said the last 2 years that he spent in that organization, what he learned is by far bigger than everything that he learned in his life before the last 2 years. So experience is the best teacher, and we should try and surround ourselves with good people. That is very, very important. Because they say if you want to, I can't remember the proverb now.
No, they say, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are.
Yeah. So everyone, surround yourself with positive people and try as much as you can to reduce your circle.
You don't have to have a lot of friends.
You
don't have to have a lot of friends to live a life.
Yeah, but the truth is, your friends determine who you are in life.
Sometimes I believe if you have some friends, you change them.
Yeah. That's why you look at their lifestyle. You look at how they listen. If they are not, and how is your life, being better because you're with them. If not, let's say you just try and see how you go. Just like a child, look at you. So and so person has changed. It's not really that he has changed. You just
he met the right people,
and try to mingle with them.
As much as I want us to continue with our discussion, because of the time, we have to end. Thank you very much for your contribution to MALLPAI Foundation and being part of our partner, and all the support you have been giving us and the encouragement you have been giving some other youth. Mr. Muniru, we hope to have this conversation some other time again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I always appreciate your mentorship. I see you as a mentor, not just I learned a lot from you. Like I told you earlier that you way before you told me some things that I was not, I was not in conformity with them. Like maybe they were against my principle, But later, I came to understand that you're very much right. But it's not surprising.
So you have to pay me for that.
So now, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Discuss with you. Thank you.